Good afternoon, guys. How's everyone? I hope everyone is okay. Today we're talking about Dragon Ball Z. I'm joking. No, we're not talking about Dragon Ball Z. Sorry, guys. That's something we were discussing before we started recording. So anyway, find out from the gents. How's everyone doing today, gents? Lebo?
I'm okay. I've just been a bit exhausted.
Yeah.
I think from my side, the only thing that's preoccupying me now is just selling the books, delivering the books.
Yes.
So whenever someone says they want the book, I make sure that they have the book. I think that's just what's keeping me preoccupied. So to some of my friends that I'm not able to see you guys, please understand it's just it's a new thing for me. It's a new thing for me. It's not easy. Like when I discover every single it had purpose. You know what I mean? Such as logistics, marketing, entrepreneurship, you know what I mean? Because you literally have to think all of these things in one time. You know what I mean? And if you get one thing wrong, you can mess everything up.
No, ansarila. Would I ask you how you feel? No, ansarila.
I'm overwhelmed.
But I must say, you look good. You look good. So I'm happy about that. Linoralaga, Mr. Lebilo. And how are you feeling, buddy?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Had a very interesting holiday period, the Easter.
Okay. Kind of we come from a Easter long weekend, yeah?
Yeah, Easters are always busy on my end, being a Christian, and it's one of the big celebrations of the year. So ever hectic.
Nice, man.
What's visits of so fail, 3-4 hours. We love the Lord, but sometimes it takes someone.
Well, sorry to cut you, Like what's more bigger in the Christian calendar, the Easter weekend or the Christmas calendar?
From a church perspective, like in terms of the program, Easter's bigger because that weekend is dedicated, or the Friday, Saturday, because it's split into three. The resurrection, the death, and then the time, the waiting period in the middle. So that 3 days is fully to that. So when it comes to Christmas, I think people like the concept and they have a Christmas message and whatever. But in terms of logistics and what happens, Easter weekend is big.
On the Christian calendar.
Moria, for example.
Yeah.
Have you seen the traffic? I mean, it's undeniable. More than Christmas. Fidelity, collect Zaka, it's a whole thing. So Easter's bigger.
Okay, cool, guys. Man. Now that we've got that out of the way, guys, I don't know what episode we're on, but I think we have to tell the viewers that we're gonna have to be -1 episode. We had a bit of a technical glitch with the last episode we shot last week, 2 weeks ago. So sounded kawatile, and then so we have to take that episode down. Apologies for that, guys. So this will be
the 8, 9.
Last week would have been 8. So I think we're on 8 today because we're gonna take down 8.
Okay.
So we're on 8 today, guys. With all the stuff out the way.
How are you, man? How are you?
Yeah, man.
How are you? Yeah.
You looking fresh, Letaba?
Thanks, I feel fresh, but did I give it a No, give feel sharp in your like, man. Like,
are you feeling okay after yesterday?
After yesterday,
you're watching the game. Can you please tell our audience what happened to your team? I was hoping and praying for you guys, but I wasn't watching it. But
I'm heartbroken. Pirates lost. Kirata Pirates, so
yeah. Every time we're posting an episode, guys, Pirates is just losing. No loser.
So anyway. No,
next week Are you guys okay though? Are you
guys we good.
Team sharp, coach sharp. I'll complain.
Okay.
But before, but no, team rage. After game game. Marasan dance come win.
So what was life is simple, man. Be a champ, man. Win Pretoria. We've got a winning team. Let's support our own. Why are this simple? Make it simple.
No. Chiefs is a home team. I can't abandon my family.
Home
for my family. My Chiefs. Yeah. all the way. But I was a bit upset. I was a bit upset yesterday, Edgar. Yeah, man. You know, I had to go to Harangua, and then afterwards I had to go visit my grandfather.
Okay.
Just to make sure he's okay, you know. As my regular checkup. As a regular checkup. Give them from Harangua, eventually I've never driven so uncomfortable. And from Harangua all the way to Klepa, it was not the street lights. At all. And I got my pothole the day. You know, part of me was panicking because of, you know, at some point I was driving in more isolation. In the bush. And I was driving for like at least 10 minutes, you know, and it was still like between 5:30, so it wasn't that late.
Okay.
But because of Kimariha, no, it was a bit dark, you know. Yeah. So I was just upset, man. Electricity, it's street lights. It's just a basic need, but it was not there for 2 hours driving, just running my errands. But there was na lemabon, there was na sale.
Okay.
Mara street lights are the So I'm just wondering, or what if something happened, like pothole or got hijacked? Just because of there's no basic service.
Yeah.
I just want to tell my frustration. Yeah.
Welcome to South Africa. That's all I have to say. I think some of these things we've been a bit light. Isn't light, but a bit relaxed about what's happening in our country. But that's a reality. It's not a matter we must just accept, but something must be done.
Something must be done, right?
So it's one of those.
Something. What do you believe? That something must be done, or do you believe we must just let it be and it will be fixed by itself? Just the thing. Welcome to South Africa. There's some things that we've accepted. Rose number one, it's okay.
Yeah. I get surprised. I think you know it change, man. Maybe ho tla ba ngcono. Ke feel like ho tla ba ngcono, wa bona.
Okay.
Yeah, ke feel like ho tla ba ngcono.
You ho tla ngcono ka by itself.
Yeah,
or should we vote for the right people, or what should happen? Like I whole things will be right. Should we pray?
Dilo tshwantse di be bad before di ba better, wa bona.
Yeah.
So ke feel like.
So you're saying for now we must just accept the badness until the good light shines from somewhere.
No, we must be optimistic or it will sharp.
Yeah.
Not accept, but
it's gonna take more than optimism, guys. I think yes. For example, I think, for example, this is so important. I'm glad even my son is here, you know?
Yeah.
I think one day he'll look, man, what were these guys trying to do? One day I level man. Uncle Edgar, Uncle Levo, and Mike. What were they trying to do? And I think it lies here. This podcast, it's not a matter of changing the world, but I think it's one of those things that we think that our voice counts. Or our opinions matter. The people that are watching on the other side, we get a lot of feedback. The other time they were saying, to me, sure you speak a lot of vernac. We don't hear what you... That's why I'm trying to speak English all the way now.
Oh, okay.
If you didn't notice.
Kadala.
No. Maragisiras.
Yeah.
But our voice matters. And let's be optimistic. Optimism can be done. For me, optimism, you can be optimistic or whatever.
Yeah.
But it needs us to do something as a community. Maybe join a political party. But overly movement. I think we need more movement for things to be done in our country. I think we've went through the phase of saying, yes, we are going through transformation. It is transformation. But now it's about how are we transforming our daily activities and our daily lives.
And tomorrow's future.
Exactly.
For our children, you know, all of those things.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, for example, now in one of Timisho's, you know, illustrations, I also believe, like, I don't watch the budget speech, right? Okay. And the only reason why I don't watch the budget speech is because I believe that, if you're gonna have a budget speech, don't give me promises.
Okay.
Tell me what you've done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It must be a performance review. You know what I mean? To say, okay, last year we promised to do 1, 2, 3. This 1, 2, 3 has been delivered. Unfortunately, this one could not be delivered because of 1, 2, 3. At least you're taking us on a journey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Of transformation, not of promises.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my belief. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I agree with you that we need to be hopeful and we need to be positive, but we can't just be positive if we're not seeing anything. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Yeah, if maybe you have a child who's on drugs or whatever, and then they are relapsing every single time, but they keep on going to rehabs, they keep on going to church, or they keep on communicating with you. At least you can see that there's a level of effort.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my belief.
Yeah.
But just to believe that my child will just get off things, and I don't know, because South Africa is our baby.
Yeah.
It doesn't belong to anyone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's my belief.
Yeah.
And I feel like Rona Esbat, we are so relaxed, especially like, if I had to ask you now, how do you define the middle class? Is there middle class?
Okay.
Where's the middle class? You know what I mean? Honano, I just think that we have walls. If it doesn't affect me, it's not my monkey, not my problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For me personally, I think that if you are in this country and if you have a child, tomorrow it might happen that your child gets a disadvantage because we didn't do anything. Yeah, that's my belief.
Okay.
I'm not saying that we must now, go reckless and all of those things, but our voice matters.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if we don't speak about these things, and if we don't say we've got a problem, then what should be fixed when we don't have a problem? Yeah. It's like this thing, if you don't vote, you can't complain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you vote, by the way?
That's why I'm not complaining. I don't vote. Okay, since I voted at the time, I was eligible for vote when I was 18.
But
that's like 4 or 5 elections ago. That was the last time I voted.
Is it a matter of thinking or your vote doesn't count or what?
I have no interest there with it. It's every man for himself. Ke tlo lebella taba tsa ka travel la life ya ka. Tsa hore ke tlo save ke mang ke political party. Se la ke vota ha one fela mo phelong ba ka.
But don't you think not a matter of being saved, but reality of the matter is that those governing powers, they are biases. Like I would like to buy electricity. Somehow, those things do affect. Isn't somehow in a great way.
Yeah.
Those decisions they are affected,
Yeah.
And I think it's two ways. It's either you just maybe don't believe in the system, or I'm tapping sharp.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying, or you believe or your vote counts. It's like a voice.
Ne. Vote
Personally, now I wish I could open a
political party.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I will, but if I would, this is what I'd call it.
Yeah.
Non-voters party. Kenyaka di vote tsa batho ba sa voting, ba sa believing more system.
Yeah.
So let's say you are a non-voter, voted once, and I get it say, but our political party focuses on the people that are like, hey, system are fail or whatever. I don't know how the constitution will look like for our party, but I think it will be interesting how many votes I can get from non-voters or non-participate. Because there are people that don't believe in the system, and I think about bunch.
Do you know what? It affects you at a greater scale, and maybe sometimes we realize.
Yeah.
We were going to my brother's birthday party that we organized, and I was driving with one of his friends, and then Chumia afterwards got Motisa. Kare say, where do you work now? I don't know, I'm unemployed.
Okay.
Why are you unemployed? I don't know, I work for the NGO. Okay, so if you work for the NGO, what does it mean now? I don't know, I get now Donald Trump has pulled off some funding. Yeah. So because of that, they had to retrench us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that man is unemployed because of what happened on a political scale.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now he's unemployed.
Yeah.
So now I got
NGO. Okay.
Yeah, Mara, because of that, many of them had to be retrenched because of aggressive. You know what I mean? So I mean, and it was one of those things where South Africa took Israel to court.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And obviously now USA was not was against that and all of those things. So, but we find out the horror because of Israeli. Yeah, and well, whatever happens there, obviously it has great effect.
Yeah.
But when I know I've got my own problems, you know what I mean?
So, I don't give a vote let Donald Trump not change your mind the high funding.
No, I think if you vote, you have the chance to agree. With okay, clearly someone is agreeing.
Yeah.
So yeah, clearly someone is agreeing.
Yeah.
But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that you need to understand that when you're voting for something, you're voting on many bases. For example, in terms of if I'm voting for this person, what do they stand for?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What relationships do they have with people that will have deciding factors that will affect my life personally?
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it hit hard because I've been hearing Donald Trump. Next thing I'm sitting with the guy in the car is telling me that I'm unemployed because of this matter. You know what I mean? So So yeah, so you know what I mean? Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
Still in gas food.
When I
I'm not a voter, man.
voter,
I believe we need to participate. I think we need to participate. Sometimes, yes, it might seem but I think it's important to realize that you do matter. You might be a small piece, but you're a piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I believe in the picture. I believe in the picture. You know that Rainbow Nation, South Africa. I'm one of those people. I believe in the picture. So I'll vote.
Yeah.
Every time I'll vote.
Yeah.
I think it's keeping one election, and
Is
I
it?
but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the greatest person one of the greatest people that has ever lived. I mean, Steve Biko. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then he was awakening the black conscience. You know what I mean? I write what I like. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
I believe that if it wasn't for those people that were participating,
Yeah.
I don't think we'd be sitting here having podcasts. You know what I mean? One day having businesses, writing books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We were inspired because of people who were participating, and I feel like now we are too relaxed, man. This generation, it has so much potential to change the world. You know what I mean? Especially here in South Africa.
Yeah.
But if we pull back, I get it, man. You know, because tomorrow we might pass away, but your child might still be here to still reap the benefits of what we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once again.
Actually, I got tshwara with it. Just now, I get interest in politics. No, I get interest in more politics, current affairs, and you know.
Yeah.
No, yeah. At least I
Guys, please tell Edgar to vote. Please
It's
tell
always
Edgar to
bad. It's
vote.
always bad news. I don't even watch the news. So yeah, I try who participate. I say stuff.
Yeah. Guys, please tell Edgar to vote.
And I'm not. I think mentality is not saying that necessarily in politics.
Yeah.
But participation in terms of the movement of the country.
Yeah.
Find your corner. I think, for example, sports.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about sports. I'm on the Sundown side.
Yeah.
Of things, and then Pirates and Chiefs and so forth. But it's so key to be a participator as a supporter. Imagine a game where there's no supporters. Imagine a game like that, how boring it is. Without the crowd at the back, without the people commenting.
Yeah.
Not allowed, yeah.
So I think that is key. That you find your corner, you participate. Whether sports, whether politics, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But I think what you say, or okay, politics might not be your thing. But in terms of the country, are you a supporter of South Africa in general?
Yeah, I'm patriotic. I'm a very patriotic South
I know
African.
You do cycling and camping and so forth.
Yeah.
So be that guy that contributes to SA tourism. Don't always go to the same campsite because we try it.
Yeah.
Go to Cape. Go to I get to go Kimberley or
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And for me, that's adding to South Africa.
Okay.
So I hear what you're saying about politics, but we need to find our corners, whether it be sports, culture. There's a lot of things to do in this country.
Yeah.
No, we will let it be. Anyway, guys, we're gonna get into it now. But before we get into it, guys, I just wanna remind you that there's a book out called Popular to Pariah in the Shadow of My Corporate Bully. If you know anyone that's been bullied, if you've been bullied, or if you've ever been bullied, I think this book you'll be able to relate to this book. And if you're interested in this book, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. On Instagram is Situmo Labkhang, and then on Facebook it's Labkhang Situmo. And you can DM me, and depending where you are, if you're closer to me, I can drop the book off to you. Or if you're not close to me, I can give you a link, and the book will arrive to you in 2 days. The book goes for about $250. And this book I wrote it because of I believe that corporate bullying is something that needs to be taken under the table and put into the spotlight. Many people are going through it, and I don't believe that people should be going through it. I didn't want to write this book, but because it was a painful experience, but I felt like it might help someone. So yeah, man, that's the only reason why I wrote it. You know what I mean? To tell you the truth, I've always had a dream about writing the book, but not about something that's painful. You know. And I believe that everyone that works needs to work in an environment that is healthy, that doesn't reduce the quality of life, and that makes sure that at the end of the day when they go home knowing that they're not upset or they don't wake up going to work being depressed. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, man, there's exhibit A, there's exhibit B, there's exhibit C, right? And I think the three of us, we believe in marriage, even though maybe some of us don't want to get married, but we saw according to stats that people are getting married at a later age, and there's less marriages that is happening, right? I mean, I remember myself when I was young, I always thought by the age of 30 I would be married, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I mean, I'm still going as a bachelor, single, and I'm past 30 by now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes that's not by choice, it's just by other factors, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Situation, which I would like us to discuss today, guys, you know what I mean? So, would you agree with what you've seen in your own personal friendships, circles, that people are getting married at a latest age? And if you think that is the case, do you think that's a personal choice, or do you think it's circumstances? And also, do you believe in marriage as well? I think let's just discuss it.
Yeah.
I'm clear, right?
Yeah, no, very clear. Very clear.
No, I don't know. Now, from my circle, I think a lot of my peers are married.
At an earlier age, or they're getting married at the latest age?
I think I think a lot of my friends, peers got married 10 years. Babang Stibali in 10, 15-year marriages.
Okay.
So I think generation yarena, like generation yarena, people born in the early 80s towards the late 80s. I think they were still getting married in the mid 20s, 30s.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of people in my circle who are now in their 10th anniversaries and stuff.
Okay.
You know? I remember Kifile speech calling this was like 12, 13 years ago.
And they're still married.
Okay. They're still happily married.
Good for them.
Yeah. So, but yeah, with the younger generation, you see her marriage isale blind. Now personally, it's not for me. I don't think Kyanyaka. I don't think Kyanyaka Honyala. And then I've actually
You haven't met the person that can people never say never, eh?
I don't think it's about the other person. I think I've had many good partners that I could have married.
What's discouraging? The system of marriage or the idea of marriage? Go straight to the point, or because it's not issues about finding. You acknowledge.
Yeah, finding the right partner has a problem for
it's the system.
It's I think give freedom more.
Why no sabule? When I'm also team, when you got more than one person.
I think nas tembungas like lenyalo leki lenyaka na actually wana kina konyala lekowa. Like I wanna marry a cocaine.
Okay.
Yeah, now I think I would be happy in either it's Tembu or with a Caucasian woman, like a white woman.
Or is it a desire, or is it maybe you find them more attractive, or do you think they for some reason it might work with them?
I think, Joe, I've had 2 white girlfriends, right?
Yeah.
And I think their approach to life, I think is something I can live with.
Okay.
Well, understand that they're very open, Joe. They're very open. One sorry,
okay.
Yeah. For example, like yeah, on different occasions. So, and I think the way we approach Handil and stuff, I like.
Yeah.
But open to.
Okay.
Are you open to marrying a white chick?
He wants to.
I think if I were to get, I'd probably marry a Caucasian.
I don't.
Probably white or Indian or.
I don't mean to put you in the spot, ne?
Yeah.
But I just want to know and understand when you say they approach things differently.
Yeah.
Now, can you give an example so I can understand? So I can.
I want to give an example, but it will expose other people in my life, kind of thing, ne? But I'll give an example, Yahori. No. Flip. If the example I'm gonna give is gonna. I'll think about something, but the example I wanna give it'll open up other people to my yeah.
When would you agree with the stats that's saying that when people are getting married at the later age these days, and and less people are getting married? And do you yourself believe in marriage?
Number one, I do believe in marriage. I believe in marriage, and because I mean the family unit is something that is proven. It's proven in terms of saying, or if you come from a family unit, you've had both parents. In terms of the chances of you being a menace to society is less.
Yeah,
those are proven facts. Or a lot of people that are thieves, a lot of people that are murderers, that they don't come from a traditional system of mother and father, they're both parents and so forth.
Sure.
So I believe in marriage from that perspective as and Gelebella in terms of a lot of references through scripture and seeing people that I think I do believe in marriage. Yeah, or there's a decline, definitely. I think the more we living life, the more we're realizing or things are not getting better.
Yeah.
The stats, for example, divorce are getting higher and higher because we're living in a life of options. If you look at it, we're looking the options are so much. The whole thing, stay to one thing. One thing I know is that marriage is not easy. I've seen it.
Yeah.
There's people that make it look easy because they don't just show their problems. So now from far, that's why Baratore don't look like your problems. And I think the people that make it in marriages, it's not that things are perfect. It's people that are willing to do the work.
Yeah.
But when you look at life now, we've got AI. AI, I want a summary report of what. It's a whole thing about what you're going to say because the hard work is being eliminated.
Yeah.
Hard work. Why do the hard work? Why is That's the honest part. So a lot of people have options to say, why do I have to stick for this, right?
Yeah.
And then you leave your marriage and you go to something else.
Yeah.
And one could say, why fight? If there are many options, why do it? And for me, it's simple. Imagine you break up, you break up with someone and you start again. You break up and you start again. The heart can only take that much. I mean, level the heart conditions, I can go on and on. And I don't want to do that. But reality of the matter is, we in a society where it's like, actually, if Mutoso Godisa leave it. And people don't have that thing how we're gonna hold on. Not this generation.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And I'm not saying right or wrong, but I'm saying that's the reason why.
For me, I would agree that people are getting married at a less age. I mean, at a
older
age, and I think that's because of Zaga
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, honyala no tsuntsuntela bola.
Yeah.
Sons afterwards unse a traditional wedding. Sons afterwards unse white wedding. For those that maybe families that believe or my daughter will be married in a white, ceremony.
Yeah.
White wedding ceremony. And then also after that you need to still provide. You still need to, make sure there's shelter, there's food and all of those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel many men sometimes they would like to get married. I mean they would like to get married, but
financially.
I mean literally within 3-4 a week of getting paid, your salary is like now 70%. It's just, and it's not like you're spending recklessly.
Yeah.
It's just like if you had to really calculate, get VAT, get tax, get grocery, get 1, 2, 3.
Woman.
Yeah, you find that a lot of people are just under pressure financially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think the economic situation is also putting pressure and it's also dictating to people what can I do, where can I live, who can I marry, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You find that things are just too expensive, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I believe that genuinely that there are people that would like to get married, but generally if they see can I really afford this thing? And I want to know there's many pressures that are put on men, you know what I mean? Especially when it comes to the word providing. Because I still believe when a man when a male and a female comes together, it must be about partnership, you know what I mean? But these days, a man is equated to what security can you provide, you know what I mean? And sometimes you can't provide security for yourself. I'll show her end of the month you could petrol. You know what I mean?
No, it's almost a formal situation. Why?
No, but things happen. People are scared. Like you might find you get married, tomorrow you get retrenched, you know what I mean? job losses are there. COVID won't see these things are possible. You know what I mean?
And that's another reason ke feel like
yeah. You know what I mean?
He ke wana jo he ke ba le mathata le di-flop ke faceana le tsona ke le wana a di impact motho mo wa bona mara if no ke na le partner and then ke ba le di-flop sponsor fela eng ke ba le pressure gore ba no ntshwantse wa understand so
another reason why I believe that people choose to have partners and not being married or a partner not being married and we're going to discuss it one time in our topics is that a lot of people now are together and they want to separate, but they can't separate because of another person is entitled to pension fund.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
But I feel like batho ba banyala no ba banyala prenup
No,
in community. And also when we spoke about the financial side of it, I also feel like the people that are getting married now, Joe, they're very savvy. They marry prenup. And then they're not very exuberant kamanyalo. If you look at the weddings you are attending now and stuff, they keep it very financially by keep us sharp, man. But traditional wedding, they're not also exuberant to turn a lady manyala 10 years back when on a white wedding. No, but why better traditional wedding understand. So we're having less marriages, but the marriages that are happening, the few that are happening are very savvy. They
financial wisdom.
But intelligence. Okay, we're taking the step, but getting married in community of property, it will mess up. So let's have a prenup. So I think the few people that are getting married now are very marriage savvy.
I hear you. I think Mara, another thing is the example of marriage. So if the divorce rate is so high, it's almost like why would you wanna get married? I think that's the message.
Why are divorce rate high?
No, like the states of
divorce. Okay, the states are
I guess about nearly 50% of marriages end up in divorce.
Dissolve.
Can one Google it just can one Google it?
And I'm thinking, so if the example of that, or if this thing is so good, for example, what I'm saying, if I'm saying, if we look at states and how the family unit actually has advantages, Mara, yet the divorce rate is so high on the other end, Which message what are we listening to more? Like the information because if it's so closely to each other, or the high divorce rate, but family unit does work, I feel like then we have a responsibility as well to start pushing the narrative, or what do we want, like what works for us. I get like South Africa, for example. Yes, as an individual, but why would we push a certain thing? Like broken families doesn't work, why are I advocating for marriage? I don't check it to say, you know.
And then also another thing is that sometimes
Mara, what I was saying is that the example, if we are looking at that thing, or this thing, Jobato, they get married now, what if no? I don't think it's encouraging for one to say Kenya Gonya. That's all I'm saying.
And then also I think for me personally, there's less support of when people are married as opposed to when you're dating. For example, if now someone is posting or happy or lovely or all of those things, and let's say they get divorced, we have a tendency, or in my world that I've experienced, I've seen that there's a tendency of saying that, ke bone fail and let gana ba ya guy. You know what I mean? Hore what's again never just last because of now you guys looked happy but never pretend. You know what I mean? So it's like people are expecting the worst when they see you happy. You know what I mean? And I think for me we need to see more of people supporting people, because of being married. It's okay. Being married, it's like it needs support from the community, from people, from your families, you know what I mean? But you find that now there's interventions of family members, but there's so many, you know what I mean?
And that's why nagrata makhuwa, like
you know what I mean?
Next situation. Next, our meet and a or rakadi high woman no. From family that's why culture Caucasian keep for stand up.
Because next thing onyala masani Malumolera, yeah. Who's it at Gagi? Every month or at Gakopala 2000.
Something, Matala side.
Yeah. Because of you like the fact that he's favoring you.
My experience I don't even meet like the external people.
So 42%.
Yeah, it's 42%. Yeah, but it's 42% of
marriages end up in divorce in this
country.
It's
very high.
In this country.
It's very high. It's 42%.
It's consistent.
Yeah, it would be interesting to actually go further and say, out of those marriages, if the survey was done, what was the cause of divorce?
Yeah.
Was it financial? Was it cheating?
Yeah, instinctively I'm thinking infidelity.
Infidelity.
Yeah.
It would be interesting because we're thinking that, but it would be interesting to.
I would say 80% of it is probably infidelity.
Check out the stats. I think we'll need another one.
Yeah.
We'll need another one. To go further, because I think that would be interesting.
Your opinion? What if you want to give an opinion? Financial.
I think it's financial.
Yeah.
I think a person would, or when I come correlating, if a person like infidelity, it's for example, horba care. Let's say you're busy, probably you get away first time, second time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
Simple thing. We married. I've got a certain routine. Spanning. Your partner won't just think. Let's say you married. Unless you've got a history of that, right?
Yeah.
So my thinking is that no, man. It's either some of these things are overlooked,
Yeah.
unless teka financial. Let's say you the holiday, I'm going with the girls, the kids are taken care of, you've got helpers, you've got whatever it might be, financially
Yeah.
Hanchi, people look away. Some of the marriages that exist of high, I'm not saying it, but this is what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't think their wives don't suspect or kind of not know.
Yeah.
But because of lifestyle,
they stick around.
Divorce or they stick around. So I think that one, sometimes I don't think infidelity.
You feel like even if I see infidelity directly, but infidelity is by like a root cause. Like even if
Sure.
let's say nice mchitaki ajola matala side.
Sure.
But the way you deal with the problems is not as effective as kisna muthu mo side.
Okay.
One swar.
Come again.
If kila le muthu mo side,
Yes.
ake approach the problems tsa ka ka yi like muthu e leng hore ne ke ake na muthu at all.
Okay.
One swara bang. Let's say ke na le muthu matala side.
Okay.
Ne, I have a fight about finances or whatever. Ne, I can deal with it effectively because we ngala ka fire because ke na le motho a nkemetseng matala side. But if I get na motho at all, ke forced hore ke stike ke deal with the problems tse. One twara. So infidelity I see ona directly re leng hore le ka mara because ona le motho ka faya moya kwa yena wa ngala. Wa tshabela di problems tse. And it and then eba pattern. One sorry, everything something you start chamuntu every time le ba le fight. I'll blow me wa tila le ona. Wa vai. O ya ko and side iphila ya di itse dikhute setse. One sorry.
Yo.
Okay.
I hear you.
Yeah, so sometimes I see on directly, but
you.
it impacts the way you dealing with your union. Oh, wow.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, marriage is holistic.
Yeah.
I'll agree with you on that part because marriage is holistic. It's not like saying
Yeah.
it might not be enough for a divorce for you.
Yeah.
But it adds up.
Yeah.
Because if you get a guy now it's like I think it adds up.
Yeah.
But I think what we're talking about, and I'd like to hear Lebza's opinion on where he stands about what other thing or which one you feel is the biggest reason for divorce, why people are like I quit. I'd like to hear that. But I think Yarna, it's one of it. I'm saying a deal breaker to that thing. Now you can't afford X. For 10 years. I think there's a breaking point because barrier or even comparisons, even women compare. Or upgrade And some women, I'm like, I'm not staying for this. I'm securing the bag.
Yeah.
I think
If a deal break.
I think we've discussed it in one of our episodes, but not obviously related to this subject per se. But what I heard somewhere on social media this past week, and I agree with that thing, or one of the reasons why people get divorced is on two reasons for me, is that people don't communicate.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They don't communicate, and number two, people are emotionally unavailable. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, I think one person discussed it, and he said that you want someone to know say, how was your day, but that person is not available for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that bond, it because it's like I only care about what you do for me, and I only care about how I'm feeling. I don't care about the other person. And remember, when we get married, it's not about it's about the we. You know what I mean? Like, say, how are we doing? How are we okay? Financially, did we survive this month? But now there's a separation, or when I say how but I wanna plan it. Now when you find that you go ask help from your friends. All of those things, you know what I mean? So I think there's lack of communication and discipline when it comes to people being emotionally available for each other and also communicating. You know what I mean? So I think people need to I think people need to communicate. I think people don't communicate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're feeling down, and then the only reason why you chose to be with that person is because of you chose to do life with that person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you find that you're doing life alone, but you're with the person. Yeah, you're with the person, but you're doing life alone. When you take a loan, you literally don't consult. You go take it by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? When you're in financial stress, you go through it by yourself, but you're with the person. You know what I mean? And when you try to communicate, that person is unavailable for you. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes that can be a very big barrier.
Yeah.
I think that can be sometimes a very big barrier. You know what I mean? I strongly believe so much in communication. You know what I mean? Yeah, because for me to understand you, we must communicate. For me to literally fix the problem, we must have communicated. That's what I believe.
So do you think or that would be something negative for
I think people yeah.
So how it's more on communication and
communication.
Mara usina muthu madala side ukasinothoma uri creative. Ukasitwele sibhano sina sibhanisisi. Wanzana? Ora this akabutsa cho. Understand? Yeah, it's not directly the infidelity, but the fact that you have an option.
Yeah.
Even these things of lack of communication. You might start noting or you might start imagining them because you're communicating with someone else. You're thinking,
So you're cheating in your mind.
Yeah, like pay attention. Understand? Because maybe because spanning hunali closely or and then maybe you feel like better than I think these things start creeping in. Start creeping in. Option. These things start creeping in. And then you start dealing less effectively with these things when you have an option.
I hear you. Now my question to you is that how would one avoid that? Because
I think if you get into a marriage, maybe avoid or flat or irande batho ba bang. As a guy who's not married,
but him to also feel that attention.
Nah, you with someone for long. These things start creeping in when you focus out yeah, those things start creeping in.
I'll use my siblings as an example. My brother and his wife, they've been married 13 years.
Yeah.
And one thing that I've seen that makes them not have left the right thinking, they literally wanna do club.
Yeah.
Marabu club together. They do the same thing. Baskimana.
Yeah.
I funny chance.
Yeah.
It's one of those they interested in the same stuff.
Yeah.
Almost like they found individuality with
themselves.
Exactly.
Like,
this thing or no.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't work. Because like all other spaces I'm not saying not be individuals or whatever.
Yeah.
But none to give warning and what works for them. They do the same. The hobbies are never fire together. All drop all go spanning. What do you see that proximity?
And that's what
but I mean with marriage, for example, with marriage, I think number one, I don't think you should get married to a person less than interested also.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think those are the like be interested in saying what go ira something. You won't believe why is all the interested to busy guy.
Yeah.
Because some marriages, like ale funny feedback, it gives gaps because someone else is willing to listen to you.
Okay. I would just like to quickly close on this one. And you guys have mentioned it, but if you repeat it, it's fine. So I'll start with you. So now what would be your advice in this whole thing? You know, you've mentioned it, but you can repeat it or you can come with something else in terms of you know, because either way, whenever we get married at a later stage or early age, but you know, you said that you believe in marriage, and I think Edgar believes in marriage. He said he's got his own personal preference, but it's not like he doesn't believe.
Yeah, no, I believe.
He believes in it. So now, what would be your closing statements in this with this one and your advice? Although we're just talking because we're not expertise, but we just maybe you're advising me.
I think end of the day, lenyalo ke institution. If I use the word institution, like a bank is an institution, school is an institution. So to every yes, I can see my boy. So to every institution, there's reasons why institutions were made.
Yeah.
Right? The banking system, elale reason or why that institution exists. Lenyalo, there's a specific reason why that institution exists. I think it's important. It's important that one, yes, boy, that one goes and looks at the reason, why, what is this institution about? Number one, I'd advise that do your research. And also because culture in churches like get married because others have got married. No, go back to basics and say, what is this about in this institution? That would be my first advice when it comes to that. But I also believe in something, two is better than one. We can't deny that. But we only bet two is better than one only if we can agree. If three is even better than two if we agree.
So we've got more strength.
No, we've got more
I'm
strength.
a sheet now. I must bring a side check.
No. We are in one accord. You know, sometimes the keys. A chord. We create a chord, and it's not easily broken. It's got a nice sound. It's rich. So those are the two things. Alright. Sometimes consider, or yes, like the bachelor life. But if you happen to find that person, then you guys actually can do life
together
and make it better than what you would do on your own. It changes the whole picture.
Powerful.
I got a lot of confidence in ourselves. You know, I know Edgar, Lebza, you don't have low self-esteem issues. You don't. And Lena, I cannot own, you know. But I believe one thing for sure is that if we can identify those people that we can be better together with, then Rafael.
And then for you, Edgar?
Natural advice if you feel like don't even start
Yeah.
Institutional respect but I personally even the way you respect and as a single guy
I know
a married lady I can entertain even a married woman I can entertain
because you respect that institution.
I respect that institution.
And you respect that guy.
I find out I'm done.
You're done.
Yeah, so I respect that, and that's I think that's part of the reason. And I respect that institution so much. I feel like I'm not in a position to give it to live it the respect it deserves at the moment.
Okay.
I do believe in that.
Yeah, you do. I know you.
Yes, do. But at the moment, I'm nowhere near.
And I must say, it's very. I think we need to respect the women that are married.
Don't aid. Pila married women, married gents. I mean single gents, single ladies.
It's all more married people.
Don't aid, but
it's all more married people.
Man, understand?
Because I mean, this is like families that came together. One negotiations, but respect that. Now, when we're not you know what I mean?
Maybe when imports last to what it takes, like lenyalo le require Joe, like Mjita or le gine le nyalana Mjita o nyale medi. Nebra we really effort, financially, emotionally, family-wise, and that's why personally like media nyeting akenya ke lenyora laka. Because guy to mjita all of it or ami refro ya.
Out of nowhere.
So the institution can respect that to an extent that's why it's habonyala because aksobe ready hore nka uphold that institution.
The institution,
yeah, because
now you're going to the main reason I asked earlier.
Yeah, because if you are
wait.
Henkanyala vele ngasi I won't even I won't even look sideways
because of respect that must institution
and actually ready.
Yeah.
Understand like Salmo vibe Sawana.
Thanks for answering.
No,
someone reboot say earlier no a comprehensive answer.
Yeah, so
Edgar, so gents, as ladies and gents, as Edgar is saying, marriage must be respected. And to those that are single and you see a married person,
don't hate them.
According to Edgar's requesting, stay away from married people. Respect that institution.
Yeah.
Because for a guy to say, I'm going to marry this girl, according to what Edgar said right now, is that it takes a lot for a guy to say, emotionally, mentally, financially.
Yeah.
A guy did the right thing. Exactly. And you just come out of nowhere and ruin the beautiful process, institution of those people that have been married. You know what I mean? So I agree with Edgar.
Yeah.
Married people, but
what was saying enough for like what was saying enough like
and you know what?
Yeah.
And when you talk about this, because as gents, what happens is that sometimes you find that if I'm single and Edgar's married, the time that Edgar's married, I then have intimacy with his wife. The fun part for me as a single man is that the fact that I'm having intimacy with someone's wife and I'm not actually taking responsibility or accountability. She's not my monkey to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying women are monkeys, but I'm just saying it's not my monkey, not my problem.
Yeah.
But I'm still entertaining this lady, but I know it's Edgar's problem. You know what I mean? And then you find that the minute Edgar says, he finds out, and Edgar says, you know what?
I'm cutting
off.
Yeah.
Me as the guy, I've got nothing that satisfies me anymore. Because what satisfied me was the fact that
someone else was taking care of.
Sorry for this word, but I'm chowing Edgar's wife.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now Edgar's gone. What's the reason why I'm there? Because the whole reason now, the fact that the wife comes to me and says that Edgar's gone, I'm now ready to be yours. So you could find that as a woman, you're losing something real over something that will never happen. You know what I mean? Moto o tsena matsapa, a o nyala, a etsa tsotlhe tseo, and then here comes a guy that says that just has fun and that destroys your whole marriage.
Yeah.
Only to find that they were never available for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's sad when it happens to women.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
the
same thing. You know what I mean?
But lose the fruits sharp. Moment of excitement.
Some of these advices are not helpful. Let's be honest, man.
Yeah.
I listen to radio a lot, and I don't want to mention which radio stations,
yeah.
right? But you can call in and ask for advice and what.
Yeah.
There's this common one that comes on.
Is this a man that you're asking?
No, man. Okay. This common idea that, you know what, people that are in marriages but they don't have a side person. It's almost like now they're pushing the narrative of saying, for a strong marriage, have a person go sighting, go ali booster. The advising let's stay away from things that are nonsensical. That's why I was saying, I think we must go back to the institution, like why this institution exists and whatever. But having a side person to size, those things cause illnesses and diseases, more relationship alone, even physical ones.
Yeah.
Mara even mentally, some way with someone. So I think we must also, open our ears and be like, no, this advice is just social stuff. And
in my closing of this, because I've heard you as well, I've heard Dimitri as well, and I think in my one personally is like, yes, we get stats is proven that people get married at a later age, but I still think that even if that's the case, for me personally, I just think that money doesn't make a person become the right person. For me personally, an occupation of someone doesn't make someone become the right person. You know what I mean? Because of any person can have a job, any person can have money. You know what I mean? And sometimes we tend to, as we talked about in this conversation, Hore, the reason why people sometimes are getting divorced because of emotional unavailability and lack of communication. You know what I mean? And Kamko Timushavlezga thing with his using his brothers as an example, Hore, and the brother and the wife, they found that themselves being individuals, and they learn to embrace each other like that. You know what I mean? So it looks like they found friendship within marriage. If I'm not mistaken. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's very important.
You know what I mean? So for me, I say, sometimes we define people by occupation, by money, and that's that's, you need to find someone from the right family, with the right values, with the right principles.
Yeah.
But guys, on the comment section, please ask Edgar to get married. Encourage him to get married. He doesn't want to get married, but please, guys, just ask him to just get married. Just vote for Edgar to get married. He's one of my closest friends, so I would like to see him get married, and I would like to be an MC at his wedding. So, guys, please help me out here. You know what I mean? Help me out here. But
the way you advocate them for marriage, Edgar.
Because like no,
like it's in the pipeline. Not surprising.
Now I can get married this year. You know what I mean? I'm just waiting for God to reveal that.
Are you dating? Are you dating?
No, currently I'm single.
So to get cherry pillow.
Yeah, I'm a man of faith. You know what I mean? So I believe in reveal.
Faith is my chirao.
Because no. No. You know why, guys? You know why? No. You know why? What I believe, as Jen, sometimes we're being unfair, and the reason why we're being unfair, sometimes we like to, bash women, blah 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 blah. But demanding all of those things. But I strongly believe, that in order for you to demand a quality woman, you need to be a quality man. You know what I mean? You need to, as much as the woman is working on herself, you need to work on yourself as well. You can't just fold your arms and expect a beautiful lady that is working on herself to just fall into your laps and say that women are demanding. You know what I mean? So currently, I'm just working on myself emotionally. That's why I'm also, at this age, I'm allowing myself to still see a psychologist. You know what I mean? All of those things, so I can mentally just make sure that, and it's not like I'm going through a crisis, but sometimes you just need to work on yourself. You know what I mean? Because we demand as men, no, but are you okay as well? Like, you know what I mean? Are you okay as well? Did check a bail. So I'm currently working on that, and I think and I also need to allow God to, as much as He's working on me, to work on that person that could be my wife as well. You know what I mean? So, but I believe in marriage. Yeah, I believe in marriage. Okay. But as a guy, don't be too demanding if you're not working on yourself. Then don't do that, because of now a woman is going to come to you and you're going to have entitlement things saying that, Hore, you must do this, what are you doing? Yeah, you know what I mean? You find that Hore Masadi Onyaga 1 2 3 Uira 1 2 3. You know how many women are in marriages, and that's another reason. Women are in marriages, the man is not working, he's not looking for work, the woman is the one that's carrying everything. You know what I mean? Women are doing a lot, you know what I mean? So and as men as well, there are some men that are doing a lot as well. But I just think that, and also vice versa, women also need to be quality women to get a quality man. That's my 2 cents worth. But yeah, man, as I said, Hore, we all believe in marriages, clearly. Yeah, we all, right?
Yeah, we believe in marriage.
I thought I lost you for a minute there. So yeah, man, let us know what you think, guys. Let us know what you think about this topic. Comment, share. You know what I mean? We would like to know, Hore, what we've discussed. Can you relate to it? And what you can also teach us, and what we can teach you, what we can communicate with. Edgar, I've known you for some time now, man. And then I just don't know, man. You are very, like, sometimes I look at your post and I look at your statuses, and it's very entertaining. You know what I mean? It's very entertaining. Sometimes when I'm bored, when I'm at work, when I see you posting, I could see Edgar and I could say, you know what I mean? But it makes my day. You make me smile.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, sometimes
that's nice to hear.
Yeah, sometimes I remember I showed one of my colleagues. But I remember the colleague's comment.
Yeah.
The colleague but Edgar made your day. When are you smiling now? You know what I mean?
Okay, no smile.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Make you smile. So I don't know, man. do you have a desire to be famous one day, or are you just posting because you love posting and you post good things, by the way?
Yeah,
you know what I mean,
yeah.
But do you have a desire one day to be famous? And if you do, are you scared of being famous? Or if you don't,
yeah,
why don't you? Yeah, I don't know.
Joe, if you had asked me this question like 2-3 years ago, I would have said, "Hey, Kidumoba famous."
Yeah.
Mara, no, I don't think Kidumoba famous. Salaka was famous, in fact, for 2 months.
Hey man,
Yeah,
2 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Salaka was famous for about 2-3 months. Salaka was famous.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess Salaka told more Date My Family.
Oh, okay, I remember.
Well,
I
had a very nice episode at Date My Family. So for a couple of months, I was famous.
When you really felt like when you say famous, what
Nekile famous.
Well, but
for 2 months,
like what?
No, the whole
like,
shebang or maybe give up men lane, but hang kupela dinepe.
Seriously?
Yeah, I want
Inbox,
bantu mela di nudes. Me bra. Okay, mara party ya di nudes ne ke sna flop lo. Mara anyway. So, but I don't think fame is nice, man.
Yeah.
Nah,
Why not?
I don't think fame is nice. But you see it even le batho ba famous, man. Ish. I feel like the fans or batho ba follow batho ba famous. Ba change it, ba sa tshwana le batho ba kale. Ba disrespectful to ba. Batho ba famous ba disrespect you, But the whole famous, people think they're entitled to you. You see it, Joe, like everywhere on Twitter, even more in the malls and everything. People think they can just walk up to you and demand of you just because you're famous. Wantswara uli bizuzo za mutalo nyaka dinepe. Wabona uvaya same mutho a demand hore unyaka.
And I'll agree space how.
I'll agree space how le nyora laka. So now I'm happy to just be the guy next door, a regular guy. He get to like get to give it 6'9", mo kina go beta 6'9" again without anyone or to question.
No question.
Yeah, like it was simple. Me bra we get le song pila out deployment elements without people coming to you and batho ba na timing me bra batho kono no tla go funeral ba o nyake dinepe le bra lutile bothoko le mo le song
o ntshanya ka dinepe since o stop le bana o smile
like Joe, I feel like maybe fame ya bo ma 20 years back na go batho ba famous ne ba le funyana ile bo Dr. Khumalo le batho ba generations, but I think batho ba maybe fame for one really nice nyana. But for now, man.
And I think Bonnet was nice because of social media was limited.
Yeah. But I
I
feel like generally people were a bit more respectful.
Yeah, at that time.
You know, but you never know timing. Hey, generation ya no me bra like
ba no latlhela fela.
Yeah, like ntho ngwe ire halang first thing phone ya tswa videos like you understand whether ana timing whether le go le song o go spetlela I mean like motho ga le go spetlela o bona wena le famous o lwana da tla o tseya dinepe. Feel like generation.
Okay, I see you. You can't even defend yourself.
Feel like generation ya no ya the followers ya the fans but disrespectful.
But disrespectful.
But disrespectful.
Yeah. And you might find out someone is famous not because of they wanted to be disrespectful, but they wanted to provide something. You know what I mean? Like in terms of service, like acting, like
sometimes who can really not the podcast as well. In fact, maloba ya neke via meeting hey podcast no like happy. Yeah, true story. So maybe but I think there's less to enjoy than to be irritated about. I'd be irritated. Get famous. Even you're not 2-3 months date my family famous. This thing is not for.
But obviously, shout out to the girl that said, "Hey, podcast."
Yeah.
You know I mean?
So that time during nakwela negrata pele chisanyama. Go pele chisama mutano tla mono nyako jwake ke mo bjale ke nyako bolla le like wa understand mputso wa ke no aventuka je mabane ke no corona ke nyako no aventuka go tsena kae wa understand so I ke feel like
no I genuinely think that the reason why personally I don't want to be famous is because of and sometimes wherever I go although that might not be a fame platform, but just generally you might be noticed or acknowledged. And I just think that people having opinion just about anything you do, as you said. People just have an opinion. Like it's like I can't. It's like when I sit, I'm wrong. When I just when I sit down, I'm wrong. When I run, I'm wrong. What must I do? Give me. It's like so I don't want to feel like I need permission to do something. You know what I mean? And I think people, because of their opinion, they can make you feel, and I feel sorry for those big celebrities because of literally you might be going through a divorce, they have an opinion. You might be going through a funeral, they have an opinion. As you said, you might be going through a depression, they have an opinion. You know what I mean? We so they don't give you time and space. You know what I mean? When someone dies, automatically yeah, was it not cheat that? That's why you don't know. I don't need to say, like, you know what I mean. So, for me personally, is that people's opinions is they're brutal, and I think they don't give you space, and I don't want people's. For me personally, I don't care in terms of what, and because I've learned to just do what makes me happy.
Yeah.
But either way, sometimes you get disturbed. When did we arrive here?
Like,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I know to me, sure, I've known him for a long time. But I know, for example, he can handle fame. You know what I mean? Not saying he wants it, but he can handle it.
What do you mean?
In terms of the question was that because of we.
No. I can handle it. Yeah.
No, I mean, John.
That thing is crushing.
Oh, what's the demon national Banjo?
No, but
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ferrari.
Literally because of when we were in a primary school.
Yeah.
And he's sending Magalki
Yeah.
Yeah, so it basically says it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, the man Hashiana got a Ferrari.
Yeah, but that thing-
And the reason now I used to run long distance, you know?
Yeah.
It's got less audience, trust me. But 100 meter.
Yeah.
100 meter
Yeah,
share
no,
music,
Mara-
competition.
That's the
And maybe
apex.
the like a small thing based on that, ne?
Yeah.
Imagine, so you're 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
How is a Ferrari? You're not pressure you. Ne?
You the sprinter.
No, you're not pressure you.
Yeah.
You're just doing your thing.
You
Like
just-
most famous people.
You just happen to be faster
Most
than
famous
all-
people, they're doing their thing. Right?
Yeah.
And then Italy, you don't come up with the conditions of how people treat you.
Yeah.
But this is how I was treated. Hold to number 2.
Mm.
I own a Ferrari rasang during the week. Yeah, Ferrari, but do until you win again. And you only 7 years.
And the temper about
You're 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And you need to now bounce back at that early age, right?
The pressure talk. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's something else. So it wasn't a matter of choice on how you're handling it. You just go through life
You just
ulemfana. Well, people don't know what practice or whatever, right? But here's the thing about fame and so forth. Most people that are famous didn't come up with a thing or famous.
Yeah.
They did their own thing and they became
then
famous.
yeah.
And you can't dictate.
You can't dictate.
Once you're in the public eye, it just shows us one thing. Humanity, Joe. I always say,
Well, we always like that.
why is it getting? But I was calling the most cruel primary. Why is it never a gauge and a young? All a little game. Lights, well, very close a game or lally. Palo gauge with a toy game. It shows ourselves as people. Man, we can be cruel, we can be mean,
We can be
public,
mean.
and the only thing is that we just hope we come up with as we go, like these podcasts and things that we take out into the world. We need more positivity and people that come up with things that will overcome. It will never stop. People will always have an opinion about your life, whether you're doing good or bad.
Yeah.
And
We just had to try to be on the right side, push that narrative, more than the people that are saying negative stuff. That's it. But it will never stop.
And unfortunately, because of this social media and this, new era that we're finding ourselves, I was listening to, I don't know her, well, I know her name because I heard it, but I can't pronounce it. But it's she acted on the Queen as Goodness. You know what I mean? Goodness.
So,
Yeah, Goodness.
Kosa lady. What
Kosa
did what
lady,
did that? Yeah.
Beautiful actor,
Yeah.
brilliant actor. You know what I mean? I just literally forgot her name, but yeah, those that know that.
Kana
But she
ke
was
mama that shit.
yeah, kind of man.
Nagi gracious.
No, it's Greek.
Nokulung or something. Yeah, something.
And then I was at KFC that time buying some meat.
Yeah.
And I watched, and as I was waiting for my order, I was just waiting and then just Googling through my Facebook and I saw a small clip of Yahai. And it was sad what she was saying, and I totally agree with it. Because she's a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
She's a brilliant actor. She's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah.
And she said, Hore, when she goes for an audition, the first question they ask is that, how many followers do you have? And she says, but what has following got to do with
My talent. My craft. Yeah.
If you want to see my craft, go watch
Let's audition.
No, let's go watch my previous where I've acted. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And and I could sense, Hore, sometimes people push us to a point where, Hore, be famous at all cost. You know what I mean? Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter on your talent. It doesn't matter on what you've done, on your reference or whatever. And I looked at people's comments and people were saying, it is what it is. Grow up. Get used to it. And it was sad, man, because of, people, it's like when you're famous, when you're good at something, because I think she did what she was passionate about.
Yeah.
And then eventually she became famous. You know what I mean? But when I know it's like, Ejo, followers, people have opinions, people have all of those things. You know what I mean? And then once they have all of those things, it's like, okay, why are we actually famous? You know what I mean? Are we famous because we're good at something, or are we famous because I've got an opinion?
Both. I mean, we live in a life like now. I'm calling it's monetary. Like some people are because they are famous. They've got fortune. Some people have fortune because of the skill and whatever, and they became famous singing. But being famous earns you money in some way. Yeah, and for different things.
For different things.
I bet some people are famous for the wrong things. Mara ba prosperous, ba para di Gucci, ba cheka ini ka mo Paris, na re so tse ka mo South Africa.
Because you know I'm also saying this, right? It's like what Dimush is saying, Hore. I will be controversial so I can get people's opinions and to bash each other as long as I'm trending. And people now become reckless with their comments. You know what I mean? But as long as I'm making things go, because of now I have much respect to actors. You know what I mean? So someone goes and studies acting for 3 years or 4 years, and then they become good. They get the degree, but because of now I've got 2,000 or 20,000 followers. Tomorrow I'm on a big show because I've got followers. But as long as people are commenting, whether they're commenting nice or not, as long as they're commenting,
as long as they also the numbers,
as long as
like more adulting, that guy Olebong. He's famous, ne? And most of them are in reality,
are show maybe alone.
Like that money adulting.
Are show maybe alone.
All other chitlas. Are pelale na most of them. Anayo na chitla. So o famous, kau act. I go rata the actor. So he's acting to be famous. Let's say tough. And he's got fame, Mara.
No, but for me, he's a brilliant actor. But I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, and it's sad for especially now for good actors. Or now because of fame, you act in a certain character, but in reality, it's a different story. You know what I mean? But the point is that people become so reckless and so inspired to have followers at any cost. You know what I mean? But as Tumish is saying, Hore, you know, those people are unappreciated more because of those are good actors. You know what I mean? I mean, he's one of my best actors. You know what I mean? Currently, but you find it Horonanong, it's all about followers, opinions. What people think about Edgar. If people think that Edgar is a good shot, and people are bashing you, you're famous for the wrong reasons. Yeah, you know what I mean. So yeah. But what's your take in closing, Hore? Would you feel, Hore? How do we solve this? Is it solvable or is it social?
Is it a problem? What's the problem? I thought Hore.
No. The question no. It went somewhere else. The question was, Hore, would you want to be famous? But now we divert.
I mean, you can't.
But now, obviously, now from where we are now to what we asked. We discovered a bigger problem. Like for me, it's hurtful, you know.
I mean, I don't think it's a problem. Well, pillow. It's again, you can't. I don't think it's something that we can shape or change. I think the only thing that we can change is like the morals are not like as a people. Like, do we have those things that are carrying? It's our we can only work on those things. Sensitivity, but the rest of the opinion that will always be higher than the other will just show you where are we standing as if we had a state of our nation in terms of morality or and so forth. It'll only be based on that. Is this a mean country? Are we mean Mumzanzi? And are we honest? The memes start ready for 2 seconds. Something happens. So is that a problem, or are we saying, hey, Rana as a country, we're creative, we're really brilliant. There's a lot of brilliance in our country, and we can look at it in that eye. Okay, this is the thing. Is it much of a problem? I don't know. I don't know if it's something to solve. I'm caught in between.
Huh? You know, for me personally, when we started this podcast, right? For me personally, it wasn't about going somewhere with it. It's about trying to do something that I like. You know what I mean? And ever since we've done our first episode, our second episode, you know, people have been coming to me and telling me, no, you can buy traffic on 123, you can buy traffic on TikTok. I'm like, guys, I'm not here to I just want to do what I like. You know what I mean? So it's not about the fame per se, but it's about let's just do what we're passionate about. I like speaking. I like just talking with friends and everyone. You know what I mean? And I'm just here. Whether we've got 10 viewers, whether we've got 100 viewers, it doesn't matter as long as you're doing what you like. You know what I mean? And if you're doing what you like, you will get sincere followers. That will not be reckless with their opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I believe. You know what I mean? So I believe that we need to go back into doing what we like and moving away from fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what I believe. If we focus too much on fame, we forget our own identity for the sake of fame.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we do whatever we gotta do to gain followers. And for me, it's like whether we all gonna have different preferences, and I can't force you to like what I like. You know what I mean? So, but if you're gonna do things for fame and at all cost, I think that's where we become reckless and we become like, let me say this for being controversial. And as South Africa, we become that thing of we become followers and not leaders. You know what I mean? And if we were really leaders, we'd really question, am I what I'm writing? Does it make sense? And there are sometimes you look at people's comments more whatever that's controversial, and people have beautiful comments. So I've never thought about this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think if you just do what you like, yeah, for
problem resolve.
Problem resolver bjang, yeah. Or the opinion about everything.
No, motho mo na problem tsa ke spana 9 to 5 ke na di problem tsa ka go mmerekong ke deala le tsona ba o actor ha ba deala le tsa
yeah no
yeah on tsana ke mo mo la le mathata hae so sticker to lena mathata ha o deala lona ba o actor ba na le mathata bona ba na le
I can know the reason why acting is because that's where the fame is.
Yeah, so that's why I can ba famous because ke bone mathata teng so nna ke deala la ka 9 to 5 nalo latelwa spanning ke dila wa bona so ai mathata a mangane
ne
so ke feel like ya batho ba ile mo mathata fisa le bona ha ba dilelo
so ha ba dilelo that's a solution
yeah
okay so now guys we on our this is, as you said, our 8th episode, right?
8th episode, yeah.
8th episode. I think one day we need to invite a friend, and you know who I'm suggesting we should invite one day.
Yeah.
We invited one friend because of obviously Timish wasn't available that day, but the three of us having that friend, and I think it should be a female friend. Okay. And you know who I'm thinking.
No,
No, whether we call her or not. I get now. I'm just thinking. Okay, because I'm okay. I can't mention, but I can't mention. Yeah. But it's a good.
Famous.
No, I'm famous.
Oh, I want some meat. Some molela.
Okay. Was it wrong? It's one of your friends.
Next thing, Google.
It's not wrong, right? Yeah, I don't know. But I'm Google for you.
I'm going to okay. Instagram.
Clearly different of opinions, but I'm outvoted, so it's okay. But yeah, man, it's our 8th episode. Well, if it's a female friend, so if she does happen to come on the episode, just know that was the person I was thinking about. If the gents agree, you know what I mean. But anyway, this is our 8th episode going. It was supposed to, as Edgar said in the beginning, we do apologize for just that episode. There was just a slight technical issue. So it was supposed to, the next episode was supposed to be our 10th episode, which I was really excited for. But yeah, man, so far it's going good. I'm enjoying myself. Are you enjoying yourself?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Are you enjoying yourself? Yeah. Okay. Shout out to our producers, for making this possible. And shout out to one of our producers' wife as well, she's just a darling. So shout out to her as well.
Yeah, we've got married friends.
We've got married friends. I can't just mention her name, but anyway, she's a darling as well. So shout out to her. And again, shout out to DJ Terrence as well. No, DJ Terrence. Is it DJ? DJ Terrence. Shout out to Terrence. He's our editor. He's making things possible for us. You know what I mean? So we just like to thank everyone that's basically making this show possible. But also shout out to the audience as well. You guys have been consistent with us, helping us to build this thing and helping us to go somewhere with it. You know what I mean? We are so committed to it, but yeah. And in closing, I would just like to remind you of the book, guys. Popular to Pariah. The book is out. As mentioned, if you want to know more about the book and buy the book, you can get me on Instagram, Situmo Lebogang, and you can also get me on Facebook, Lebogang Situmo as well. The book goes for $250. From Popular to Pariah, Life in the Shadow of My Corporate Bully. I'm just gonna allow Edgar and Dimitri to say goodbye to you guys. And from my side, I love you, Edgar.
Yeah, no, guys, thanks for tuning in. It was a long episode today.
Yeah,
thanks for tuning in, guys. It's always nice. It's always a pleasure. Yeah.
Peace. See you in 2 weeks.
Guys, peace out. Be blessed. Hundreds.